Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are learning Mishnah Gittin, Parakeh, chapter 5, Mishnah above Mishnah 6. Okay, so now, before we start, we need a little introduction. And that is, let me read it to you here. The Mishnah discusses the law of sikrikain. Got that? Sikrikain. Remember that word, very important word for the next Mishnah, which is another enactment made regarding stolen property. A sikrikain is a murderous non-Jew who steals land from a Jew by threatening to kill him. So the Jew says,
Shoot him.
take my land and leave me alone. The law of the sikrikain relates to a Jew who bought land from a sikrikain who had stolen it from another Jew. That's going to be the issue. That's going to be the main issue of the Mishnah. So you got it, the sikrikain. You've got this, ruffian or whatever it is, who is under threat of life, is, getting the land from the Jew, and then another Jew buys it from the sikrikain. He buys it from the guy who took the land away from the other Jew by threat of life.
Forcibly.
Right, by threat of life. Not threat of money, threat of life. Okay, now, so the Mishnah says like this. Loihaya sikrikain b'Yehuda b'harugei mehel melchama. Literally translated, that means, when it says there wasn't sikrikain, it means the law of sikrikain, which we don't know that yet. We don't know exactly what that law is yet. But again, as we say, it relates to a Jew who lost his land to the sikrikain, and another Jew who bought it from the sikrikain. The law of sikrikain did not apply b'Yehuda, in the land of Judah, the section of Yisrael, of Eretz Yisrael called Yehuda, which was the southern part of Eretz Yisrael, Baharugei Melchama, when Jews were being killed as a result of the war. What that means is that if someone bought, that means like this. So what's the time of war? The time of war refers to the war waged by the Roman general Titus on Judah and Yerushalayim during the second temple, during which the second temple was destroyed. I mean, it didn't happen, right away. It didn't happen, 1, 2, 3. It was a process. So when Titus basically waged war on Yehuda and Yerushalayim, then we say that the law of sikrikain did not apply. What that means is, if someone bought land from a sikrikain during the war, he was not subject to the law of sikrikain, which we will soon learn what that is. Rather, he was allowed to keep the land without any restrictions. Meaning, you already get a hint here what the law of sikrikain is. Sikrikain has to do with, again, about the Jew who bought land with sikrikain, how does he deal with it, since a Jew first, it belonged to another Jew first. But during the time of when Jews were being killed because of the war, it doesn't mean being killed during the war, but being killed because of the war, then if you bought from a sikrikain, you keep the land and there's no restrictions. Why? Because the occupying Roman government allowed and even encouraged the murder of Jews during the war. A Jewish owner would wholeheartedly give up his land to a sikrikain who seized it from him. The sikrikain thus legally owned the land, and its sale to another Jew was valid. So what that means is that the situation there was that the Roman government, the Romans were in control, were more than happy for Jews to be killed. And therefore, when the sikrikain was threatening you, right, with your life, you took it very, very seriously. You didn't think there's going to be some kind of way of getting around this, and meaning of some way of getting your land back. And therefore, when you gave the land to sikrikain, you gave it wholeheartedly. Now, let me read to you how they explained it here on the bottom. Even though sikrikain did not pay for the land but forced the Jew to give it to him, the Jew was so afraid for his life that he gave it to him wholeheartedly. Since the transaction was carried out with full intent, not under, the situations that he would have liked, but it was done with full intent, it was valid. And the land thus becomes a legally owned property of the sikrikain. Okay, and therefore, whatever we're going to learn soon about different kind of restrictions and limitations, if you bought from a sikrikain, do not apply that point of time. Because the point is that at this point of time, the Jew who lost his land to the sikrikain wholeheartedly gave it to him. The question is, at a later point of time, we're going to explain that it wasn't so wholehearted. because you could actually think that maybe you'll be able to get it back from him. So therefore, but at this point of time where when Jews were being killed because of the war, Jewish blood was cheap. You actually were encouraged to kill Jews. In that situation, when the guy came and said, your land or your life, you gave it wholeheartedly. Now, interesting to point out is the fact that it says the Mishnah says this was in Yehuda, right? That's one section of Eretz Yisrael. So they explain here, this applied only in the land of Judah because the Romans targeted the land of Judah in particular with their brutal decrees. Listen to this. As they had a tradition that Yehuda killed their forefather Esav. You ever heard of that? Who do we say killed Esav?
Yehuda.
No. Yehuda?
No,
Dun's son, Chushim ben Dun.
yeah.
Chushim ben Dun is what we have in the Gemara who killed him. But they had a tradition that it was Yehuda. And therefore, it was when they were waging war on Yehuda, they were particularly brutal because they're getting back at Yehuda for killing Esav. Okay? And therefore, this whole idea that when Jews are getting killed because of the war was relevant in Yehuda. But then the Mishnah says, Merugim el chama va'elach yesh pasikrikan. But when it came to the point of beyond people being killed because of the war, yesh pasikrikan, then the law of Sikrikan did apply. Okay? Now, so what's the explanation here? The explanation here is, however, after the period in which Jews were killed as a result of the war, i.e., after the war, when the Romans' hostility subsided and they forbade the murder of Jews. I guess it means after Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, they got what they wanted to get done, then already they forbade murdering Jews. Then yesh pasikrikan. Then law Sikrikan applies even in the land of Judah, as we said before, since the Jews were no longer subjected to the earlier murderous decrees, a landowner would not be as frightened and would not surrender ownership of his land to a Sikrikan who seizes it, which they explain, although the landowner gives up his land, not surrender his ownership of it. Rather, he thought to himself, I'll let the Sikrikan take it now, and later I will sue him in court to get it back. Meaning when he's over there threatening you, right, you give it.
Yeah.
But you're not doing it wholehearted because you figure you'll be able to get it back later on. So therefore, being that you didn't do it wholehearted, so that means the Sikrikan did not acquire it. So then we got to talk about what happens when another Jew buys from the Sikrikan. The Sikrikan therefore did not own the land, and his later sale was not valid. Someone who bought the stolen land from the Sikrikan was therefore subject to the law of Sikrikan, which will be the next part of the Mishnah. So it comes out at the end that during the time when Jews were being killed for the war, the law of Sikrikan didn't apply in Yehuda and Judah, but it applied everywhere else in Eretz Yisrael. Once it came to the point that there was no more, dying because of the war, they forbade killing Jews, then even in Yehuda, even in Judah, the law of Sikrikan applied, which again means if a Jew buys from the Sikrikan, there's going to be specific laws about that, which, Meir Hashem, we will start tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.